Hey everyone, it's Lori, and I am here today with my Nonfiction November TBR. Now, I am very much a mood reader and I don't make TBRs very often, but I do like to try to make one for Nonfiction November. I usually pick two books in each of the four word categories and then try to read one of them because it's possible I could get through eight, but I'll probably get distracted by other things too because I constantly am getting distracted by books. So I just thought I'd quickly go through the books that I am going to be choosing between for Nonfiction November next month and just talk briefly about them. The first word prompt was time. And so my two takes on this kind of go at the time thing differently. So the first time thing I thought of is a book that I've had waiting for me to read for a little while. And that is very, very, very dreadful. And it is about the flu pandemic of 1918. So this seemed timely to me since we are currently going through a very, very, very dreadful pandemic. And I'm at the point where I can read about pandemics, which, for the very beginning of all of this, there was just no chance I'd be reading anything like this. But I thought, I think I might be ready now. So on the other, well, maybe this isn't that far apart. On the other aspect, we all run out of time eventually, right? And so my other choice that I may choose is, Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? So this is a book about death and questions. I think children, like the title comes from questions from children about death. And I've heard a lot of good things about this author, Caitlin Doughty. I know Olive from a book Olive has read several of her books and enjoyed them. I'm not usually super into medical-ish death type things, but I've been reading a lot of books about medical stuff recently, so maybe I've changed. So anyway, I thought that one would be an interesting choice for time as well. For the word movement, I chose two different types of social movements, I guess. So the first one is, so you want to talk about race, which of course has to do with all of the discussions of racial injustice and systemic racism that have been going on. I've been reading quite a bit about that, so it just feels like a natural extension of what I have also been reading. And then my other choice is a movement I'd like to see take off a little bit more, is kind of a movement of kindness. And it's very hard because I'm struggling being kind to people right now because it feels like no one is being very kind to anyone. So anyway, I thought an uplifting memoir that might help me to feel a little more kindly towards my neighbor is The Good Neighbor, The Life and Work of Fred Rogers. So of course, I remember watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood as a kid. And I've just heard some fabulous things about Fred Rogers. And of course, there's the quotes that people share about look for the helpers and things like that. So I just feel like that could be an uplifting thing if I need a bit of a pick-me-up instead of like a downer about, death or racism or pandemics. So I thought I should try to include some cheerful books. For the word buzz, the first one I chose is one that I have had come up in many of the books I have read recently about race and racism, either in in-text citations or in reading lists at the end of the books. A lot of them have suggested Between the World and Me. So I thought I would go ahead and put that in because I've been hearing quite a bit of buzz about that. So again, kind of a heavier topic. But then my other choice for buzz is another book that I've been seeing reviews of and so forth, and that is The New Jim Crow. So I guess either way on this topic, I'll probably be reading a book about race. And then the final word is discovery. So I picked two different books for discovery. And I kind of just took discovery to be like books that I have heard about over, it can be for a while, books I've heard about for a while that intrigued me, but I just haven't picked up, that would further my knowledge in some way. I would discover more about a topic that I don't know as much about. So my first choice was Invisible Women, and this is about how women aren't seen in data studies. Okay, so the subtitle of Invisible Women is Exposing Data Bias in a World Designed for Men. So basically this book looks at how we treat men as kind of a default in things like studying medical stuff or just anything. Men are treated as the default and women are treated as like kind of an afterthought, and how this book will talk about how that affects women in a lot of negative ways. So this one just sounded really interesting to me. It's not that I'm unaware that there's a data bias with women, but it's not something I've really explored much. So when I first heard about that, I put it on like my want to read list. And then I just found out when I resubscribed to Audible recently that it's available through the Audible Plus. So that makes it even easier for me to get a hold of. And another one that has been on my radar for a while that I thought sounded interesting, but I just haven't gotten to, is A Hobbit, a Wardrobe, and a Great War. And this is about J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, and kind of how they found their faith through their experiences in the war, and how that affected their writing. Those were the books that I am going to choose from for Nonfiction November. I would love to know what you'll be reading if you're participating in Nonfiction November, so feel free to leave me a comment down below, or if you've made a video, leave me a link in the comments. That would be fabulous. I would love to see it. But I love Nonfiction November. I think this is my third year participating, and my second year making a video about it. So I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts on my Nonfiction November reads at the end of November, early December. But yeah, I just thought I'd share those with you today. I hope you all are very well. Feel free to like and subscribe if you would like. And other than that, I guess I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.